I wanted to do a video about why I actually got into fitness, what it's done for me, and why I do what I do, because a lot of people forget about that, and it's the core of everything that we do. And so I put this background image up mainly because I wanted to show you what we've done. And so, it started out as Platinum Fitness, right? That was when I moved down to Florida and I knew four people. That was what it was. And then we obviously evolved it into PFit, which then became a national franchise and multi locations and everything else. We developed weight nutrition. And from all of that came the Kids Lives Matter program. But basically, um, I want to stick to fitness today. And what I want to tell you is I got into fitness because when I was growing up, I watched my mom go through gastric bypass surgery at pretty much the same time going through a divorce and losing everything, right? And so, um, growing up, my mom was 5'3", 300 something pounds. She was a big Italian woman, and I watched what it did to her body. I watched what it did to her confidence. I watched what it did to her family. I watched what it did to her marriage. I watched all of it, and I've seen what it's done since then. And when you carry that much weight on your frame for that many years, uh, there are side effects and there's things that you're always going to deal with. She's had knee replacements, she's had herniated disc surgery, she's had complications since the gastric bypass surgery, including bursting um, an organ inside of her body to where she was septic and had a 20% chance to live while I was working. And I had no help, so I had to keep working. And I couldn't go up and see her because she was in and out of surgeries and everything else. And so I would just call my brother basically every 2 or 3 hours and get an update and see if she was dead because there was a 20% chance she was going to make it. She did. She's still with us and she's doing great. Um, but growing up watching that and was always one of the reasons that I was in the gym. And so I started going to the gym for football and for all that stuff when I was a young kid. When I was 14, I started working out really, really hard. I had a hernia surgery. When I was a freshman, our coach, um, in high school didn't have any idea how to do things properly. And so I was doing deadlifts and got a hernia and ended up, missing my entire freshman of high school summer, barely got back in time for camp. And it was just ever since then, I was like, I'm never going to get injured because of ignorance again. And so I started learning. And you got to remember, guys, back then we didn't have YouTube. We didn't have any of the stuff that we have today. Um, we had pirated music and we had Napster and LimeWire and Kazaa and things like that. So we would, download whatever we could find, right? Jay Cutler, Ronnie Coleman, Lane Norton on bodybuilding.com. These were the things that we had. That was it, right? Like we had forums, and that was pretty much it. And so I wanted and magazines, and so I would buy every Muscle and Fitness, every Flex, every Men's Health, and read 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 and get better and better and better. And I'd read about supplements. I'd read about workouts. I'd read about what the Olympia guys were doing. I'd read all of it all the time, and I became I fell in love with it. And then I went to college and won a natural bodybuilding show when I was 21 years old, and I won the overall, won my division, and then after that, I I had pushed myself so hard and hurt my body so bad doing that I stopped working out. I got into drugs and alcohol um, before I moved back home, and I was up to 260 pounds and 40% body fat, 35% body fat, somewhere in there. And so I went from literally 3%, 4% body fat, being a absolute stud in fitness, to being fat. And I remember seeing a picture of myself with a friend of mine who's now passed away, and I was embarrassed by how I looked. And I knew what I had the capability of being. And so I got back into the gym, and it got me back going. And then I moved back home, and I got clean, and I got off of drugs and everything else. And then my buddy called me, and he said, you know, hey man, I'm starting this gym. There's no one better. There's no one who has more experience. There's no one who has more knowledge than you. Like, I need your help. And so that was back when I used to play video games for a living and bartend and live in my mom's basement. So that's what I did. And so I would stay up all night. I would bartend, come home. It was a steakhouse, so I didn't bartend that late, right? I was home by 11 o'clock. I'd stream video games till 4 in the morning. I'd go to work from 5 to 10, and then I'd come home and sleep. And so that was my schedule, pretty much 5 days a week. There was some, and then obviously the more and more the gym grew, the less and less I bartended, so it became better. And then slowly it got to the point where he had to come over to my house and say, "Hey, man, I need you to do this full time, not play video games." And so, I did that, and since then I helped him build locations and all the hoopla, and I could get into the business side, but the fitness side is where I want to stay. And so I didn't know if what I was doing was what I wanted to do, and this is the point of the video. I remember the first day that when he called me, and then the first day I came in, and I didn't know what to do, didn't know what to expect. Um, and I just remember helping a lady who ended up losing 100 pounds. I just helped her back not hurt during battle ropes. And just seeing the relief on her face and the thank you she gave me, you'd be amazed what a thank you can do for somebody in the right moment. Um, so when somebody does something for you that really helps you, just tell them thank you, because you don't know that thank you spurred everything that you see. Everything that I've done, that thank you spurred. So you never know when that thank you is going to change your life. And it did. And obviously since then I've been able to learn and grow as both a man and a leader and a business owner and a trainer. I've put well over my 10,000 hours in on the floor. Um, and I have so far to go, and I'm not perfect, and I'm still not great at business, but I try really hard and I try to be a better leader every day. But the main reason that I'm in it now, and the main reason that we have such great staff, is because I want to see them have what I had. I want to give them what I had. I want them to have the success that I've had. Um, because in our field, there's not a lot of opportunity for success. There's not a lot of avenues for success. There's not a lot of people who believe in you in the fitness space, and it's flooded with people who have no idea what they're doing or started working out and got into it. There's just so many problems with the industry. We get into that, but at the end of the day, I got into this so that my staff and my team can have success and have opportunity. And no matter how hard it gets, I told them this on a team meeting we had last week. I was like, I'm a simple dude. I came from fucking shit, right? So for me, it's real, like, with all the things that we go through, and I could make 100 more of the business owner videos that you guys like, but it all came down to me because I could quit. I could quit right now. I could have literally everything I ever dreamed of before I moved. I could have my house paid. I could have my place in South Florida. I could have a very nice life. And I could work part-time, if anything, and be totally fine, right? But that's selfish, and it doesn't give anyone else the opportunity to win, and it's not my purpose, right? And so the only thing that keeps me going on a lot of days, when you get to that point, right, and you've never had anything, and then you get to the point where you have things, right? Like, I'm recording this podcast or this video on a really nice computer in a plus 7-figure house, with a 6-figure truck in the driveway, and monetarily, I've accomplished a lot more than I thought when I originally moved down. And I realized that if I got rid of it all, they wouldn't have anything left. There wouldn't be anything left for them, and that's not fair. So the reason I got into fitness was to help people and to have that passion, that I knew I had something, I knew I could help people, and that was the moment that I figured it out. And I want that moment for my team. And I don't know how many it's going to be, but I know that the one thank you, what it spurred for me and the amount of impact and change that I've had through the companies that I've built. And if I can do that for somebody else and I can pay that forward, imagine the ripple effect of them if they're better than me, because most of them are younger than I was. Most of them haven't made the mistakes that I have. Most of them haven't done the dumb shit. And most of them have a great place to start. And so imagine how much further they could go faster than I did, and how many more people they could help than I have. And to me, there's a lot of days, especially over the last couple of years, where I don't want to do it, and I've wanted to quit. And the reason I stay in it, the reason I do it, the reason I fight so hard every day, and You know, a lot of people will call me aggressive or call me angry or call me different things, but passionate is what it always comes down to. And the reason I'm so passionate about it is because I know that today could be that day when one of those coaches gets the thank you they need or the belief in themselves that they need to become the person that they were meant to be and to spur them into something greater than they could have been without it. And to have that pivotal moment where they impact thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people. And to me, that's worth fighting for every day. So my challenge to you is this, and I tell you the story about fitness to challenge you with this, is there's a lot of people who quit at things. There's a lot of people who don't want to do things anymore. There's a lot of people who get burnt out. There's a lot of people who throw in the towel. But I would ask you this: what's something bigger than you that would make it enough for you not to do it? And on the days where you don't want to anymore, find it. Find that thing. Look around and say, man, if I quit, who does it affect? And what could that person's life be if I didn't quit and I poured into them instead? And I promise you, you will appreciate that more than anything that you accomplish for yourself is when that person gets it. And I want to say thank you to the person who told me thank you. And if this video helps you and spurs you on, that'd be awesome. And that would mean the world to me. And it would be a mission accomplished for me. But I'm looking for those people. That's what I do. That's why I got into fitness. And hope you guys have a great day.